Turning our attention now to a new plan put out by the Biden administration today. The strategy says it reaffirms the U.S.'s unwavering commitment to Israel's existence, legitimacy, and security. Is it enough to combat the rise in anti-Semitism? Earlier today, I spoke with the managing director of the Coalition for Jewish Values, Rabbi Yaakov Menken, for his perspective. Rabbi Menken, the Biden administration has a new plan to combat anti-Semitism, incidents of which have been rising in the U.S. To start with, I'd like to hear your response to the plan.
The fact that they're doing an all-government strategy is really overdue because of this rise in anti-Semitism. It's very good that they're doing it. Unfortunately, the current implementation, as outlined today by the administration, is deeply flawed. That's how I would put it.
Tensions have been rising over how to define anti-Semitism, which you've said will allow real anti-Semitism to fester. Could you explain more about that?
I mean, that's really the problem. I don't know, and I don't think any of my peers are aware of any colleague, traditionally trained Orthodox rabbi, who doesn't recognize that economic warfare against Israel, like boycotts, it comes out of classic anti-Semitic economic warfare against Jews. 100% that it's anti-Semitic. There's something called the Nexus document, which tries to paper that over and claim that it's a legitimate anti-Israel political position. And when that is put up against the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance definition of anti-Semitism, which clearly outlines the various anti-Semitic positions used against Israel, that just muddies the water. Yet the Biden administration has now praised both of those documents, giving precedence to the IHRA definition, perhaps, but also commending the Nexus document. And that's simply unacceptable.
And so where do you see this leading?
Well, what it's going to do is muddy the water. Like you said, it's going to allow real legitimate anti-Semitism to fester. We see out in the field, you see on college campuses, that people start with these anti-Israel protests that promptly devolve into finding excuses to hate Jews. And that's what has now been enabled when you have a document like the Nexus document claiming, oh, that's not anti-Semitic. If it's not anti-Semitic, why is it that Palestinian flags are used against Jews interchangeably with swastikas?
Now, you've pointed to the administration's ties with certain organizations like the Council on American Islamic Relations and the Southern Poverty Law Center as a cause for concern. Could you tell me more about that?
Well, it's more than a cause for concern. We've directly pointed out that both of these organizations are encouraging and inciting anti-Semitism. The Southern Poverty Law Center puts a series of conservative organizations in the category of hate groups. That includes places like Family Research Council, but it also includes people who are fighting radical Islamic terrorism, which the SPLC does not identify as a collection of hate groups. It's amazing because more people have been killed, more Jews have been killed in the last 50 years by radical Islamic terror than any of the various groups that they do specify. So they're masking it, they're covering it over, and they're working together with the Council on American Islamic Relations, which encourages anti-Jewish boycotts and also has backed Hamas and has ties to the Hamas terror organization. It's quite alarming that the Biden administration would list them as partners and not list any Orthodox Jewish organization as a partner in their efforts to combat anti-Semitism.